On a chill, moonlit night, David found himself on a desolate stretch of road where shadows danced and the wind whispered tales of the forgotten. This was a road less travelled, a forgotten path that lay abandoned. The moon, like a large silver disk, hung heavily in the star-studded sky, casting an ethereal glow on the cracked asphalt. The road twisted and turned, disappearing into the dark, silent woods on either side. David, a man of keen senses and a thirst for the unexplored, was drawn to this hauntingly beautiful scene. His curiosity piqued. As David ventured further, the wind began to pick up, rustling the leaves and carrying with it a faint yet distinct scent of decay and desolation. The road, once a bustling route, was now a relic of a time past, bearing the scars of abandonment. An eerie silence hung over the place, occasionally broken by the distant hooting of an owl or the rustle of small creatures in the undergrowth. This road, David had heard, was not just abandoned, but shrouded in sinister whispers. Rumours had it that it was a place where the veil between our world and the netherworld was thin. Stories of strange apparitions, of voices in the wind, of an unsettling feeling of being watched had circulated, yet none were brave enough to confirm. But tonight David decided to challenge the unknown. As he moved forward, the moonlight waned, the shadows grew longer, and the wind seemed to carry a cold, mournful sigh. David, a rational man, brushed aside the chill he felt creeping up his spine, attributing it to the cold wind and the eerie setting. Yet there was something strange, something unsettling. It was as if the road was alive, breathing, watching, waiting. As the wind grew colder, David felt an eerie sensation creeping up his spine, but he pressed on, driven by a strange, irresistible pull. The abandoned road beckoned, its secrets waiting to be unravelled, and David, our unsuspecting protagonist, was about to step into a world beyond his wildest imaginations. The true tale of the abandoned road was about to unfold. The road, silent as a grave, suddenly erupted with the rustling of leaves, whispers of the unseen swirling around David. His heart pounded in his chest like a war drum, each beat echoing the growing fear that gnawed at his courage. The once serene pathway had transformed into an orchestra of eerie sounds, each note strumming the strings of his nerves. The road, once his friend, now seemed a foe. The moonlight, his only companion, cast long, ominous shadows that danced and swirled, merging with the darkness. The silence was shattered by the rustle of leaves, the crackling of twigs under unseen feet. Each sound, a haunting melody, played on the violin of his fear. David stopped in his tracks, his breath hitching in his throat. The whispers, they were growing louder, creepier, a symphony of hushed tones that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. He strained his ears, trying to decipher the unintelligible whisperings that seemed to be closing in on him. His mind raced, thoughts tumbling over each other in a frantic quest for a rational explanation. But the whispers, they held no reason, no logic. They were a cryptic serenade, a chilling lullaby, whispered by the unseen. They echoed around him, bouncing off the trees, amplified by the silence of the night. His heart pounded louder, matching the rhythm of his rising fear. He was caught in a whirlwind of sound, an orchestra of the unseen. The whispers, they were not just sounds, they were a presence, an unseen entity that seemed to be closing in on him, encircling him, entrapping him in its eerie symphony. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, the unintelligible words seeming to form a sinister harmony. And then, a chilling gust of wind blew past, carrying with it a whisper that sounded almost like a name. His name. The whisper seemed to linger in the air, a spectral echo that sent a shiver down his spine. It was as if the unseen had finally revealed itself, and it knew him. It knew his name. David stood still, his heart pounding, as the whispers turned into voices that seemed to come from the shadows themselves. It was as if the darkness had been given a voice, an eerie chorus that filled the once silent air of the abandoned road. The whispers that were once indistinct and hushed now grew louder, more pronounced. It was like a symphony of voices, each one distinct, each one with its own chilling cadence. They were no longer just sounds, they were words. Phrases that filled the air with a cold dread. "Walk away, David. one voice whispered. "You don't belong here," hissed another. The voices seemed to be everywhere, surrounding him, closing in. And then there was laughter. It wasn't the joyful laughter of companionship or the comforting laughter of friendship. No, this was a different kind of laughter. It was a laughter that chilled his bones, a laughter that seemed to echo from every direction. He could hear the cruel mirth in it, the joy in his fear. The laughter was not just a sound, it was a presence, an entity that seemed to linger in the air, surrounding him, suffocating him. David realized with a sinking feeling that he was not alone on the road. The whispers, the voices, the laughter, they weren't just sounds. They were entities, unseen beings that lurked in the shadows. He could feel them around him, their presence as real as the cold wind that whipped past him. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing the laughter that filled the air. He could feel a cold dread seeping into his bones, a fear that gripped him and held him captive. He wanted to run, to escape, but his legs wouldn't obey. He was frozen, rooted to the spot as the unseen became revealed. As the laughter echoed around him, David felt a cold hand on his shoulder. With a gasp, David turned around, coming face to face with nothing. The world around him was as still as the breath he held in his chest, the air as cold as the fear coursing through his veins. His eyes darted around the empty road, searching for something, anything that could explain the voices he heard. But there was nothing to see, just the lonely road, the moon casting long, haunting shadows and the chilling wind that seemed to whisper his name. His heart pounded in his chest like a drum echoing in the silence of the night. He was alone, but he was not. He could feel it, an unseen presence, an entity that was not of this world lurking just beyond his sight. He could feel its gaze, as tangible as the cool breeze that swept past him. It was like being watched by 1,000 unseen eyes, all focused on him, all studying him. The voices continued to taunt him, growing louder, more insistent. They echoed around him, bounced off the empty buildings and filled the night with their sinister laughter. They whispered his deepest fears, his darkest secrets, things he'd only ever told the silence of his own mind. The voices knew him, knew his every thought, his every fear. They laughed at his confusion, his fear, his desperation. David was trapped in a nightmare he couldn't wake from. His instincts screamed at him to run, to escape, but where could he go? The unseen entity was everywhere, surrounding him, engulfing him. It was in the wind, in the shadows, in the voices that filled the air. It was the unseen puppeteer pulling at his fears, his sanity, like strings on a marionette. And then, without warning, the voices fell silent. The wind stopped. The shadows seemed to retreat. David was left alone in the silence, the fear still heavy in his chest, but the respite was short-lived. Suddenly the laughter returned, louder, more terrifying. The unseen entity was still there, still watching, still waiting. Terrified, David ran, the laughter and voices chasing him down the empty road. David escaped the road that night, but the voices, the laughter, they never left him. His heart pounded in his chest, fear etched into his every breath. He had fled the abandoned road, but the echoes of the unseen demons that inhabited it still haunted him. They whispered in his ear during the quietest moments, their laughter echoing in the stillness of the night. David was a changed man. His eyes, once full of life and curiosity, were now clouded with fear and uncertainty. He moved through his days like a spectre, his mind constantly returning to that desolate road and the horrors it held. Sleep was a distant memory, replaced by fitful nights filled with the echoing laughter of unseen demons. His dreams were invaded by the road, its darkness swallowing him whole. His friends and family watched helplessly as David's light dimmed. They could see the change in him, the shadows that danced in his eyes. They tried to help, to reach out, but David was lost in the echoes of the road. He was trapped in a world of his own, haunted by the memories of that fateful night. The road remains abandoned. Its secrets, concealed by the darkness, are left untold. It continues to lure the curious and the brave, whispering promises of the unknown. But those who dare to venture into its depths are met with the same haunting laughter that claimed David's sanity. David's story serves as a chilling reminder of the power of the unseen. It's a testament to the demons that lurk in the darkness, unseen but ever present. Their laughter, their whispers, they are the echoes of the haunted road. They are the chilling threads of fear that weave themselves into the fabric of our nightmares. To this day, David hears them, the echoes of that haunted road, a chilling reminder of the night he ventured into the unknown. As we draw the curtains on this chilling tale, David's story serves as a stark warning. The unseen can have lasting effects, even when we leave it behind. The haunted road may be abandoned, but its echoes persist, whispering in the ears of those who dare to step into its obscurity. David, once a vibrant soul, is now a shell of his former self, trapped in the lingering echoes of the unseen. His experience is a testimony to the power of the unseen, the unknown, and the fear it instills. It's a reminder that sometimes curiosity can lead us down paths better left unexplored. The haunted road continues to exist, luring the brave and the inquisitive, its secrets concealed in the darkness. The laughter, the whispers, they persist, a chilling soundtrack to the fear and the horror it invokes. As we say goodbye, remember David's story. Let it be a guide in your own adventures into the unknown. The unseen may be intriguing, but it is also a realm of fear and uncertainty. Tread carefully, for you never know what echoes might follow you back. Until next time, dear viewer, see you in another horror story.